Hello and welcome to the Flying Reporter. Today I'm going to talk about how I calculate my performance figures. In other words, how much runway I need for takeoff and landing. And we'll get straight onto that. But first, have you noticed something about India Victor? My 1977 Turbo Arrow 3 has been given a bit of a clean-up. Mark from Aeroshine Aviation Detailing brought his rags and polishing equipment out and has given it a really good wash and buff, and it's looking very, very shiny indeed. Yes, the paintwork's a bit tired, but it really has made all the difference. All the bugs are gone, the surfaces look smooth and clean, even the underside where it was coated in a thick layer of grime and oil and all the mud that gets kicked up from the undercarriage. And inside too, looking sparkly clean. I don't think I've ever seen the carpets look so tidy and clean. So performance calculations, and I do them pretty much for every flight. And that might seem odd since I know my aeroplane, but this is quite a heavy aircraft, 2,900 pounds all up weight. I'm often carrying quite a lot of fuel to get places. I'm carrying lots of baggage as well, and often the runway here can be a bit soft, and sometimes there are some short runways here that we have to use as well. And a lot of the strips that I fly into are quite short as well, and I suppose the Arrow here is, for me, I found is more limiting on landing than it is on takeoff. So we're going to have a look at the landing figures here because we're going to be heading off to Damin's Hall, and Damin's Hall's quite a short grass runway. It's also got an upslope or a downslope depending on which way we're coming in. So the first thing we do is we go to the pilot operating handbook for your aircraft. You have to use the one that's in your aircraft, and here I've got a copy of it which I'm showing you right here, and this is the landing distance over 50 feet barrier. So this will be a full flap landing, and this is calculating the distance from over the threshold at 50 feet to us stopping at the point where we slow down. So as I say, I'm going to pick the worst case scenario here, and on the Piper models you have a graph like this, and you usually start at the temperature. So basically I would draw a line 21 degrees up until I reach the altitude here, and this is the pressure altitude. Now the pressure altitude is derived by the QNH on the day and the elevation, and you work out for every millibar there's roughly 30 feet, and you can work out what the actual pressure altitude is going to be. And the pressure altitude today is actually minus 334 feet. Now do be careful with minus numbers if they're not charted here, but I am just going to nick it just here ever so slightly below sea level. Now I'm going to go across to the reference line, which is over here. I haven't drawn a particularly straight line, and this is part of the problem with these graphs. They're not exactly accurate to this point here. Now if we were at 2,900 pounds, this would be our reference line, but we're actually at 2,300 pounds today. So I'm going to take this line down here, roughly sort of matching the line, and it kind of comes to, let's have a look here. It's difficult to see. It's just above here. So I'm going to say it's about here. And now I'm going to draw a line across from here. Now this here, at this point, is the nil wind landing distance over 50 feet. If we wanted to add a headwind or a tailwind, we can use the lines here to calculate that. I usually work on the basis of nil wind, and if I've got a bit of a headwind, then I take that as a bonus. And this comes out at, let's see here, 1,430 feet. We now need to convert that into meters, because here in the UK and Europe we use meters for our takeoff distances and landing distances. So we do a quick calculation: 1430 divided by 3280 times by 1000, that equals our meters. Next we have to add some safety factors, and the UK CAA has a safety sense leaflet on performance. Look it up, and it has the safety factors. So for short dry grass for landing, it will be 1.15 meters, 1.15. So I times it by 1.15. I now need to multiply it by the CAA general safety factor for landing, which is 1.43. So multiply by 1.43, and it gives me 716 meters. Now 716 meters is no go really, because Damin's Hall is 650 meters long according to their notice. It's an unlicensed airfield. Depending on which runway we're coming in on, the amount of ground that we've got to use is going to be different. For instance, on the approach to runway 21, they've got pylons at about 250 feet, so it's going to be a steep approach, going to be difficult to touch down on the numbers, whereas coming in the other way, we've got trees. Not sure quite how tall they are, so that could be difficult. We have to look at the airfield and the surroundings and think, can we touch down on the numbers? Because if we can touch down on the numbers or at the start of the runway, we can actually refer to the ground roll distance. So we do exactly the same thing. I'll just quickly do that here for you. And that gives us about, what should we say, 520 feet. So we divide that by 3280, multiply by 1000, times by 1.15, times by 1.43, we get 261 meters. So we know that if we touch down on the runway, we're going to roll out for 260 meters. Now you can't always do this, and I would say take this very carefully. If you're not used to flying into short strips, then don't apply this. Use the landing distance over 50 feet until you get used to your landings, but you can use the ground roll distance, and that's what I'm going to try today. I'm going to try and touch down as close to the numbers as I can, and hopefully we'll only use less than 300 meters. Of course, if it's not looking good and I'm floating, I'm going to have to go around. So we're airborne now, and it's only a short 20-minute flight from Red Hill to Damin's Hall, and we're going to show you the arrival there, and we'll see how much runway we use, whether I'll land on the numbers and make use of the runway we've got. And then later in this video, we're going to show you the departure from Damin's Hall, and I'm going to show you perhaps an easier way to calculate your performance figures.
Look, I'm no master of the short field landing, and as you'll see in a minute, I don't make a particularly good job of this landing. Generally, I have a tendency to float a bit too much in the arrow. But we do have a bit of an advantage today in that Damin's Hall is using runway 03, which has an upslope. Also at the other end of 03 is a displaced threshold, which I think gives us a bit of a stopway at the end should we need it. It's all a bit of an unknown quantity really, because I've not been here before, it's unlicensed, and there's not a massive amount of detailed information available.
Damin's Hall is just the other side of the River Thames, and just next to the M25, and you can see the motorway probably in the camera underneath the wing, and it takes a turn to the north here. So we're kind of on the anti-clockwise carriageway of the M25 right now. It's going to slow us down a little bit because it's quite turbulent today, and we're quite light, so that reduces our manoeuvring speed. Oh, let's give them a call. We've only got 7 miles to go. Hornchurch Radio, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, 7 miles to the south, inbound, request aerodrome information.
Damin's Hall, call sign Hornchurch Radio, is unlicensed, so its radio service is often unattended.
This is Golf Hotel Alpha Papa Zulu. They're using 03 runway today, and there's no one in the circuit. I've just left to go down south.
Roger, Papa Zulu, thanks for that. Golf India Victor. But quite often at an unlicensed airfield, you won't get a reply on the radio.
Are you worried about airspace infringements? Would you know how to deal with that dreaded letter or email from the CAA informing you that you strayed into airspace you weren't cleared to enter? Well, this is where a membership to AOPA UK could come in very handy. Their Ask AOPA advice service is the first port of call for pilots facing investigation by the regulator. They've many years' experience advising pilots on these issues, and if it's serious, they can refer you for a 30-minute free consultation with a specialist aviation solicitor. Join AOPA UK now with my special discount link, which offers you 25% off new 1 or 2 year memberships. I'm an AOPA member. Why don't you join today?
Once we're clear of the bridge here, we're going to come down to 1,400 feet because we've got the London airspace to the west of us here, and we need a little bit of a margin. In fact, it's not coming down. I'm going to go landing light on, we're going to go mixture rich fuel, radios, going to go to the left tank, engine temperatures and pressures. Direction indicator is aligned, and we're on runway 03. Hornchurch traffic, Golf Bravo Mike India Victor is a Piper Arrow QE2 bridge, inbound, intend to join right base runway 03, Hornchurch traffic. Now, will we be able to find it? That's the next thing. Oh, there it is, I see it. It's essentially just a field. See the windsock over there. I'm going to go gear down now, get ourselves all set up nicely. Configured, we'll go past this town. Hornchurch traffic, Golf Bravo Mike India Victor's Piper Arrow, just turning right base, runway 03, Hornchurch traffic. Brakes, undercarriage, mixture, fuel, landing light, carby, direction indicator, and we got the gear down, we go reds, blues, greens, doors are locked, landing lights on. Hornchurch traffic, Golf Bravo Mike India Victor, Piper Arrow, turning final, runway 03, Hornchurch traffic.
Now, of course, the most important factor when landing somewhere where the landing distance is a bit tight is the approach speed. The approach speed at 2,300 pounds in my Arrow here is 72 knots, so that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, we're on speed, a bit high though, but we want to clear those trees, so that works out quite well.
Those trees are pretty tall, and landing at the runway threshold is going to be impossible. I need to keep open the option of a go-around here.
Looks good.
I'm just going to slow down the footage here so you can see how very difficult it would have been to land at the threshold there with the trees right at the airfield boundary. There's also a dip in the runway 178 metres in. That's not in the flight guide or on the aerodrome website. I don't want to land before that. But judging from my experience, I'm pretty sure this is going to work out, so I continue. I wasn't braking hard at all. I could tell the aeroplane was slowing satisfactorily on its own. But you know what? I think if I didn't have a headwind component or an upslope, this might have been a bit tight here. I might have run into that displaced threshold area at the end of runway 03. In total, I think I used between 550 and 600 metres. It could have been shortened had I braked harder. Still, it's considerably more than the 261 metre ground roll calculation and quite a bit less than the 717 figure for our landing distance over 50 feet. Conclusions? Well, I think this landing has shown me that I need to be really careful with short, unlicensed strips that have obstacles or features near the runway thresholds. I need to be careful if using the ground roll distance for my landing figures, and if I don't land at the threshold when using those figures, what's that going to mean? I didn't go around on this approach. I think that's because I made a judgment call. The speed was good, the approach was stable. I knew I had a bit of an overrun into the displaced threshold area that I could use. There was an upslope that wasn't factored into the figures and a light headwind too. It looked eminently doable, and in fact it was. Now, I promised to show you an easier way to calculate your landing and takeoff performance figures, and I want to talk about an iPad app that I've been trying out, and the company behind it is offering Flying Reporter followers a free trial.
Now, I told you that for the departure I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of doing it, and it's in the form of an app called the Geronimo Flight Pad, and it has various categories of aircraft that you can upload to this. The app is free to download. You pay an annual fee for the category of aircraft that you want to use. It's got multiple aircraft types on here. You have to set up your weight and balance for your aircraft, but then it's as simple as putting in the weight, as you can see here. It's myself at 200 pounds, my passenger who's going to be coming with me 194 pounds. We've got the fuel at 110 litres, and as you can see, it's got the weight and balance chart there as well. And then if we just check that we've got everything set here, 21 degrees for the outside air temperature, 1026 for the QNH, and the elevation here is 50 feet actually, so let's just put that in. And then all I have to do now is go to the takeoff ground roll tab, and as you can see, it's got the actual POH charts in here, and it's a far more accurate way of working out your takeoff run. So we've got 800 feet there. I shall work out what that is in meters, and that will be my takeoff run. Really handy if you arrive at an airfield like I have today and you've picked up a passenger that you weren't expecting and you want to make sure that you've got the performance to get out of the runway and take off. So yeah, really good app actually.
If you'd like to try the app and get a 3-month free trial to the 2 main aircraft categories, go to the Apple App Store on your iPad. It's only available for iPads at the moment. Download the app for free, and then to get an exclusive 3-month trial to aircraft categories 1 and 2, which should cover most of the common types, hit the green button that says Start Without Pro Account. select Show All Aircraft, then select Enter Voucher Code, enter the code TFR in capital letters, then select your chosen aircraft, and now you'll be able to try the app for free for 3 months. The voucher will only work until the 31st of October 2024. A quick disclaimer, the app is not an official substitute for your aircraft's POH or airframe manual. If you are going to use Geronimo, make sure you set up your aircraft weight and balance profile correctly and cross-reference its results with your manual calculations. Remember too to apply the CAA safety factors to the results.
This is going to be fun.
I need to get the nose off the ground before that dip in the runway, so I'm applying a soft field takeoff technique.
Okay, power is set, T's and P's are in the green, airspeed is increasing. Getting the nose up, we should have it off about now.
Using the Geronimo app, I calculated that my takeoff ground roll distance would be 398 metres.
And we're away.
In actual fact, we were airborne just a little bit short of that, about 350, 360 metres.
Okay, gear up. How are we for those pylons?
Yeah, we're well clear.
So I can adopt best angle now. And help me look for traffic.
Yeah, I'll keep a lookout, yeah.
Getting the flaps in. T's and P's are good, landing lights off. Auto gear can come on. Busy bit of airspace this, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Hornchurch traffic, Golf Bravo Mike and Victor, Piper Arrow 2 miles to the north, passing altitude 1,100 feet, changing to North Wheel 123530. North Wheeled, radio Golf Bravo Mike India Victor, 2 miles to the south, inbound, request aerodrome information.
Golf Bravo Mike India Victor, North Wheeled, good morning, I have your details. The runway news 02 left-hand circuit, QNH is 1027.
02 left-hand circuit, QNH 1027, Golf India Victor.
So I'm flying a very short hop to North Wheeled now with Ashok here, who asked for a lift to his hangar because he wants to show me his new Skyleader 400 aeroplane that's just been delivered. We're filming this in June, just before the 80th D-Day anniversary, and we're treated to 2 Dakotas taxiing out on their way to an anniversary event.
Well, that's quite a treat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Academy 08, North Wheeled, hello again to
It's
you.
D-Day coming up, so these are all going out for D-Day.
Academy 08.
So they're leaving space for us to go through.
Once you've passed the Dakotas, there should see a grass taxiway on your left-hand
That one,
side.
blue-
You need to
blue
follow that
cones.
up and park on the hangar 2 apron.
Roger, we'll take the grass taxiway now between the Dakotas.
Okay.
What fun to come in and land and have the 2 Dakotas going off. It's the D-Day 80th anniversary, and they're all, I think, going off to France. And we've literally just arrived, I think, as they're setting off, or they're heading off to meet with the rest of the formation for the trip over to Normandy, I suspect. So Ashok is the UK distributor representative, is that right, for Skyleader?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Ashok built his sling here in lockdown. He ended up in some of the newspapers, I think, didn't you, about that?
Yes.
And now he's just imported the Skyleader 400, the first. Is this the first in the UK?
Yes, this is the first in the UK, yeah. So this one is has been flying in the Czech Republic, so we just had to bring it in a container for ease of transport. We will, next weekend, we plan to put the wings back on and we'll be flying. It's on the Czech register, so we can still fly until the permit is issued in the UK, so then we'll transfer over to the G register.
I saw the Skyleader at Aero Friedrichshafen and met up with Ashok's team over there, and I think the whole point of this microlight is really to target the kind of flying school market. So this is going to be the first in the UK. I'm sure Ashok's going to be very busy trying to get flying schools to sign up to orders, no doubt.
I'm looking forward to flying the Skyleader. I think I'll be doing that at some point in the next couple of months. My thanks to Ashok for showing me his new aeroplane. So, an interesting day of flying. I hope you enjoyed following along with me. Remember to join me on Patreon for bonus content from my supporters club. For example, the unedited video of my join and arrival at North Wheeled is available to watch there now. Until next time though, I'll say bye for now and fly safely, my friends.